Hey guys, something that I just need to get off my chest, and what a better place to do it than on YouTube. How much time should you give an employer when you resign? The norm is 2 weeks. Some people give a week, some people give a week notice, very weak, they quit the same day. I've been at my current job for about a month shy of 3 years. I've been promoted twice. I've gotten about $10 in raises since I started. I'm in charge of a crew that I'm not going to say where I work or what I do, although some of my other videos may have touched on this. But this is just so annoying that I, again, felt like I had to get it off my chest. And this is going to be a boring video, so I don't blame you if you just click away right now. But anyway, as you know, if you've watched any of my other videos, that I live in PA and I'm moving to New York. The PA house is under contract, and probably 95% of everything I own is been moved to the New York house where I plan on dying. So I gave written notice at my work 5 weeks ago. Told them that my last day was September 10th. I gave 4 weeks notice. I knew that my position is a tough one to fill, and I'm not bragging, and I'm not the best, but the choices that they have, even though there's 50 plus people that work where I work, my replacement is going to be a tough find. So knowing this, and not in a huge rush to get out of there, I gave that notice. And when I submitted it, they took me upstairs into their quaint, cozy little office and asked me if there was anything they could do to keep me. I gave them the reasons. The new house is it's an hour and a half drive. It's just, there's really no amount of money that could make me drive that twice a day in all weather conditions year round. And I was completely honest, and I told them they did offer more money, and I said it would be a temporary fix, but I would get very tired of the drive very quickly, and I would be leaving anyway. They appreciated my honesty, or so they said, and they asked me if I could make my end date fluid, meaning to give them a little more time to find my replacement. I knew this wasn't going to be possible with the people that I work with, but I agreed to it regardless. And we agreed upon whatever date that I said would be my last day would be fine. So this morning, I went in and I told my immediate supervisor, who is the assistant GM, that this coming Friday would be my last day. Immediately, his demeanor changed, and I was a leper. I will work this entire week, because that's what I said I would do. And it's just amazing that with the incredible amount of notice that I gave, I'm still treated like a piece of junk. The entire day was like utter avoidance. You know, we typically talk on a very regular basis due to the nature of the job. We need to communicate to progress in what we do. And that just didn't happen today. After I talked to him this morning, I didn't see him the entire day. Not a single word, not icon, nothing. And what kind of irks me about this is one of my buddies a couple of weeks ago decided it was time for him to leave. So he gave a 2-week written notice, and this same individual came to me and asked me what I thought of that. And I gave my honest opinion. And this guy was pretty good at his job. He wasn't stellar, and he wasn't an idiot, but he was pretty good. And he would have been a benefit to, keep him on board for the 2 weeks that he gave. Well, they decided to let him go the very next morning. They said his attendance was lacking, and, they thought in their best interest, as always, that it would be best to let him go right away as opposed to seeing what happens for the next 2 weeks. Everything that we do at work is on a time frame. It's labor intensive, it's complicated, and his help would have been, by me anyway, appreciated. And I like this guy. He and I never really had any issues. I was there less time than him, and I think there was a little bit of animosity because I was promoted so quickly and he wasn't, but truly it was because of his attendance. But even if he only showed up for half of the time that he gave to his last day, it would have been beneficial to our progress. But again, they saw fit to let him go the very next morning. He was taken back, shocked, surprised, as were quite a few people. So I guess the question is when you work for a company who, and I'm going to say it flat out, cares about nothing but profit, what is the best course of action when you're going to resign? 2 weeks and stick with it? A week? A day? Zero notice? And it's been said before, if they're going to let you go for whatever reason, they're not going to give you a notice. It's kind of rare to get a severance pay, especially if in their eyes they think that you are a misfit. So what's fair? I mean, do you plan on going back to this company next year, 5 years, whatever from now? Do you want to not burn any bridges? Or is your taste, you will never go back to this company? So where does your loyalty lie? And I thought that I was doing the right thing, and I really didn't need to go immediately. As I said, our house in PA is sold. The closing date is set, and I was giving them enough notice because I know their circumstance and I felt bad for them, and I'm an idiot for that because they wouldn't have felt bad for me if they thought that my performance was subpar or I made a gigantic error and they thought that I was not cost effective. It comes down to the money. And man, I don't know. I could go on for a long, long time about this. But in my opinion, I will never again give more than a 2-week notice. And if I feel the slightest bit of a lack of gratitude, I'll be gone immediately. As I said, I don't think that they bat an eye when it comes time to let somebody go. For whatever reason that they let this person go, they fill his shoes the next day, the next week, the next month, and they could care less about what happens to you. So, a buddy of mine who was a service manager at a car dealership, and he was a good service manager. He was tough, not a lot of people liked him, but he got the job done, and everybody was profitable because of that. Everybody was profitable. He said, you're only as good as your last time at bat. And if you really think about that, that makes a lot of sense. Flash in the pan, this guy hits a home run and wins the game, and the next game he strikes out every time he's at the plate. And now all of a sudden, no, it was just a freakish thing, and this guy really is a piece of junk. He doesn't deserve what we're paying him, so on and so forth. But again, I haven't had any issues at this job, and I very rarely do because I'm very loyal and dedicated. But when it's time to go for whatever the reason may be, it's time to go. And again, I thought that I was doing the right thing by giving such an enormous notice, and they treated me like gold right up until today when I told them that this coming Friday was my last day, and today's Monday, by the way. But they still wound up with 6-week notice. But that wasn't good enough. And I can't tell you how much that upsets me. It actually infuriates me to know that I did what I could in their interest, and I'm still the clown, the piece of crap for leaving them. But I'm so sorry to waste your time with this. As I said, I really needed to get this off my chest, and YouTube is a great venue for that. So, yeah, hopefully after this week, primarily I'll be spending the majority of my time in New York. I want to get back to the Dynaglow. I want to get back to the garden. I want to get back to the horses, hunting, camping. I'm considering building a cabin out in the remotest part of my property. The pond, fishing. There's so much that I want to do that I haven't been able to do because I'm so tied down to my job. Overtime was basically mandatory, and I spent this whole summer and I feel like I've accomplished nothing other than profiting the company that I work for. Guys, I'm so sorry, and we'll see what happens this weekend. So y'all hang in there, man. Have a great night, and we'll talk soon.